Dr. Ben Carson says knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And a strong back then, one could get by with just being able to like physically work and they would be set. But he was saying this in 1987, mind you. 1987. And today it's more true, like truer than ever, that it is a combination of both. Even if you do work physically, it behooves you to be aware and have some knowledge because you never know when you're going to use it. In fact, Dr. Ben Carson, the reason why he was admitted and got into University of Michigan um, for his I'm sorry, the hospital, John Hopkins. The reason why he made it was because he's a classical kid who loves in those times when we were talking about the book reports that he's doing as a kid, he listened to classical music. Like he's the kid that is awkward. He's the awkward kid. I feel like I'm the awkward kid. I imagine you feel the same way too sometimes. That people just look at you and they think that you're weird. He was the weird kid walking around with his Walkman, listening to classical music. Like he could, Beethoven, Bach, like composers, he could tell you everything. Everything. And him having that experience in his youth, when he actually went for the interview at John Hopkins to get this position, there were only two, they only took two students out of the whole nation. And the reason, A, he did do academically well, he performed well, yes, of course. But the reason why he really made it into that program was because he made a connection with the interviewer. And they got on classical music and they had a riveting conversation about it. And towards the end, Dr. Ben, is telling us this. He's like, towards the end, the man had to admit me in the program because if he didn't, he would have no one else to talk to about his classical in-depth knowledge that he has about, Bach and Beethoven. Like no one else shared that passion with the man. So he wanted to admit him just because A, I'm sure that man saw a part of himself in Carson. There's that. And then B, I'm here because I want to converse with you about this because I love this and I hope to find people who love this as much as I do. You can imagine, wow, for an interviewer to come up to like such a bright young man and also knowledgeable about such worldly things that his peers are not at that time. Like classical is already beginning to go down the drain. People don't care. But wow, knowledge, Ben Carson says, is never a waste. It is never ever a waste because you never know when you're going to need it. Honestly. And I couldn't agree more. But again, you're talking to the girl who is working double time to get something like this going. So you know me. You know me. But wow. I am I would have never thought that the reason that he would have gotten it would have been because of that connection. Would you? I don't think I would have. So he retired from neurosurgery, an academic, it's an author, a government official, all that stuff. And the government official part. So he didn't make it with 2016, of course, but Trump and him ended up making a connection, as you saw. And Trump appointed him, to be the housing and urban development for 2017 to 2021. And again, he is referred to as, the most prominent black conservative in the United States. Well known, accomplishments out the wazoo. Wow. Truly, truly impressive man. And I wonder how he has the time. At one point, a reporter is talking. They're like, Dr. Ben had like 5 surgeries lined up for the day, and he still made time to do an interview. Of course, they came to him, but five, or even if you say each surgery is like, 5 surgeries, like 3 hours. For the babies, it was just 22 hours. Just the babies. Like that he at one point I believe like he performs, I'm going to say 400 at his height. He was performing like 400 procedures like a year, and 75% of them were babies or children. Yeah, 4 to 500 operations a year. Wow. That's the reason why, like, when I see such a man and I'm having a hard day and I don't want to type or I don't want to do the research, I think, what would Ben Carson say? What would Steve Jobs say? What would Alexander Graham Bell say? What would Jesus do? um, but all seriousness, wow, simply wow. This man, I'm I'm also impressed that he has been able to keep his calm throughout all of this. Like with everything that's going on, he's been able to like just muddle through. And he's won several awards, of course. They've given him many awards. The highest award that one can receive, as a civilian, he's been given it. And I think he should get more. I think he should get more awards, but I'm biased. I'm biased because I think the reason why I connect him with him most of all, I think is just because like coming from the nothingness and then being a lover of books and then also being like a person who loves classical music, all of that combined just makes it like you feel connected to these figures. I imagine it probably is similar for you guys too, that there are certain people, the great figures you read about, and you're like, you connect with them. And in a way, that's the great part about books. You can find people that you connect with, but it's on a pages. And that's lovely. The pictures over here, this is his mother, him, of course, and then this is his wife. Him and his wife met at Yale University. She was a classically trained violinist, obviously very capable, very smart lady to make it to Yale. They both were in Detroit, but they met in Yale, so it's kind of cute. Um, when Ben talks about his family, it's so funny. He's like, yes, I have 3 boys, and each of them play a stringed instrument. My wife, of course, plays the violin, and they formed the Carson Four or a quartet, the Carson Four, and the something quartet, the something five, like you get it, like the Jackson Five, 5-5, or like 4-4, and he's like, they're actually quite good. Just the subtle way he's like, yeah, my sons are actually quite good. They formed this cute little band, and I love this. If I had not told you, or you had not seen, what he looks like, and I had just described to you what this man did, you would have told me he's a Jewish guy. He married a lady who plays the violin. All 3 of his sons play a string instrument, and they formed a band. They formed a quartet. I'm like, what? It's like the most Jewish thing I have ever heard. Oh man, that would be me at least. I would just be like, mm, mm. There's no way. But I like. I'm so grateful that he is such a good example. I really am. At one point, Dr. Ben Carson is asked about religion and physical healing. So, for instance, like the medical industry is not known for being very big into religion, and that baffles me. um, or for some medical guys I have come in contact with, they say, I believe there's a creator, but I just don't believe in God. And I'm like, I don't, I can understand what you're saying. I can understand where you're coming from. If you've never been in faith, like, I get it. I get it. Like there's someone, but I'm not connected or I don't have an association with who they are. I'm not trying to gain a relationship with them. I digress. But Ben Carson, he is a doctor, like I said in the beginning, every Christian mother's dream. He is the doctor who's a Christian. That's so rare to come across. That is so rare to come across. And listen to what he says about the role religion plays in physical healing. So they ask him about it, and he says, the brain has a tremendous effect on the body. For instance, you are sitting in a room and are hooked to all kinds of monitors. You have the pressure cuffs on, you have all the things measuring you, etc. And all of a sudden, a hungry tiger walks into the room. You just see that tiger, and drastic physiological changes occur in all parts of your body. Those changes are just a matter of your eyes perceiving the tiger, and things are going into your mind that have a dramatic effect on your body. A relationship with God and your spirituality are obviously medicated not through your body, but through your mind. So, if your mind can trigger those very obvious effects just from a tiger walking into the room, can you imagine what the possibilities are if your mind is functioning on an even higher plane? And you have a spiritual relationship that allows you to communicate with a master of the universe. Wow, that's so well put. Yeah, our minds play crazy tricks on us. Our minds can do pretty powerful things. And religion can do pretty powerful things. I mean, people say think positive. Think you become what you think. Well, if you believe that God is on your side, and if you believe that you have a purpose in the world to do good and to set out to do something that has never been done before, and God is on your side, you will do everything possible to accomplish that. He separated twins in the womb. In the womb. What? What? Like, wow. Wow. How do you even do that? How do you do that? I can't imagine. I really can't. Let me play that video and then we're going to go into epic discussions mode because I have some things that I want to get into.
Because of the complexity of our brains, billions and billions of neurons, hundreds of billions of interconnections, it can process more than 2 million bits of information in 1 second. It never forgets anything you've ever seen, anything you've ever heard. And, with something like that sitting up here, why would you ever utter the words, I can't?
I can't. 2 words that hold us back and keep us from following our dreams. Many years ago, the words I can't might have defined Ben Carson. Not that you would ever know that from where he is today. Ben is the world's foremost pediatric neurosurgeon based at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. In 1987, he became the first person to successfully separate Siamese twins joined at the brain. He's also the subject of a Hollywood film, a philanthropist, and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Amazing achievements, made all the more impressive when set against his troubled childhood.
Well, growing up for myself in inner city Detroit in very desperate situations, and we lived in a tenement, large multi-family dwellings, boarded up windows and doors, sirens and gangs, rats and roaches. It was a miserable environment. I was a pretty awful student and didn't have a lot of belief in myself academically. And neither did my classmates. They all thought I was stupid. They called me dummy. I was the butt of all the jokes. But despite the fact that no one else believed in me, my mother did. We were very poor. There was never money for anything. But it didn't cost anything to get a book from the library. And between the covers of those books, I could go anywhere in the world. I could be anybody. I could do anything. It was like an escape from my world of poverty.